Ah,
Hi.
Hi, sir. This is Lester. Good
Hey,
afternoon.
I hope my screen is visible, right?
Yes, it's visible. It's clear. Also, just to preface as well, sir, I'll be the one introducing. I'll be introducing the course for a little, just like around 2 minutes. 1 minute, 1 to 2 minutes, and I'll be introducing you as well, sir.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay, thank you, sir.
hi, Lester. Sorry, hi, Namit. Hi, Lester.
Uh,
Lester, I think you can use the training account. I just logged out.
Yes, ma'am. I think this is the account. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the polls are available there.
So, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lester, by the way, and I'll be your host for this webinar. And I'm here to greet you all a wonderful day ahead. And while we are moments away from the session, I encourage everyone to grab a quick coffee or snack with you while waiting for the others to join. Sit back, relax, and we will begin shortly in about 5 minutes. Thank you. Hi, once again, a pleasant afternoon to all our attendees. So, once again, I'm Lester, by the way, and on behalf of Apex Global, we warmly welcome you all and thank you for joining us in our ISO 56001, the Blueprint for Organizational Innovation webinar. So, innovation is crucial for growth, adaptation, and long term success. However, relying on a wild garden approach Sporadic bursts of creativity often leads to inconsistent results. ISO 56001, the innovation management system, offers a solution that can transform organizations of all types and sizes. So this webinar will highlight why ISO 56001 is essential, not just for large companies or specific industries, but for any organization aiming to stay competitive and sustainable. So join us to learn how adopting a structured innovation framework can help you navigate digital transformation, drive continuous improvement, and align innovation with your strategic business goals. So that the objectives of this webinar would be: number one, understand the importance of structured innovation for organizational success. Number two, learn how ISO 56001 aligns innovations with business goals. And lastly, discover practical steps to implement ISO 56001 for continuous improvement and competitive advantage. And our speaker today would be, we are privileged to have Mr. Namit as our speaker. He is a seasoned corporate trainer with over 6,000 hours of experience delivering impactful sessions for top organizations such as PepsiCo, Taj Hotels, and Allstate Insurance. He is certified in design thinking by Stanford Business School, and he specializes in innovation, strategic thinking, and critical thinking. As a consultant for Institute for Industrial Development, Ministry of MSME, Mr. Namit blends hands-on activities with strategic insights to deliver measurable results. Overall, he's renowned for creating engaging, transformative learning experience that drive growth and innovation. So with that, I'd like to greet everyone once again to enjoy the session, and I'll turn the time over to Mr. Namit. Over to you, sir.
Hi, hi, everyone. Thank you, Lester, for such such an exciting introduction about this entire concept of ISO 56001. Just check with everyone, how is everybody doing? And are you all excited to know about this new concept? Or we can have a hello in the chat box saying, how are you excited about the concept? What's going on? Are you curious? Are you intrigued? Are you like excited? A general warm-up hello from everyone. It would be great on the chat box. Okay. Yeah, I see some hellos now. Great. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Excited to learn something new. Hello, looking forward to the session. Okay. Thank you. Definitely, this is indeed a very exciting concept for organizations, and there is a lot of reason to be excited about this interesting concept of ISO 56001. So today's agenda would be, of course, understanding why every organization needs innovation to stay relevant. Of course, understanding the key benefits of the ISO and what is this, the basics, the concepts, and why it matters for an organization. How this framework drives innovation in organizations, and of course, how it helps in achieving competitive advantage. Also, certain practical steps and solutions for integrating ISO within the organizations. Moving ahead, a a quick poll for everyone. What is your organization's biggest barrier to innovation? Think about what could be the barriers for innovation. We have 4 options here. Of course, you could agree with any 2 or 3 options also, but yes, we are doing a poll here to understand that which options out of the 4 options are really the more concerning options in the organization. Okay, so we have lack of structured process getting 73%, insufficient resources or budget, resistance to change, lack of leadership commitment. We are still few more seconds to go before we can have the final analysis in front of us. So we have around 70% to lack of structured processes and about 23% to insufficient resources of budget, 38% to resistance to change, and around 8% to lack of leadership commitment. Wow. Thank you everyone for participating in the poll. And of course, the reason I said wow was knowing that around 70% of us think that there is a lack of structured process within an organization. And well, that's what indeed we are introducing today in the session, that how we can overcome this concern within organizations. And this is not just about within this group, this analysis of having a lack of a structured process. Of course, other factors do contribute, but if you see generally, globally, most of the organizations have great minds, great ideas, great innovation sprints running, great adrenaline rush going on with innovation. But yes, the biggest challenge is that we lack a structured process to implement the innovation, to implement the ideas, to implement the creativity into solid, measurable results. And that is where the challenge lies. Thank you once again for, oh, I guess I did not share the results on the screen. Let me just, oh, you could see, right? Yeah, you could see the results on the screen. Yeah, great. Thank you. All right. So, of course, we have, I'm sorry, what was that? Just give me a sec. Yeah. All right. Of course, the challenge about the innovation gaps uh, leading to missed opportunities, market losses, and stagnation. And we all know that when we see this figure, most of us would really relate to a lot of things here, whether it's stagnation of the innovation or market losses or competitive disadvantage, because on this volatile market, we have competition from almost everywhere. And that is what makes this whole game pretty challenging for us. Uh, why companies are why companies would be failing to implement innovation within their organization? Now, if you see this chart, of course, we have a lot of factors within an organization which are responsible for innovation not happening. But if you see the wheel, almost 23.8%, that's a big number. If you see in the relative figure, is the innovation culture. And of course, the challenge is, which you all mentioned, was the innovation structure within an organization. But if you open that thing and if you look in another dimension, you see that who are the part of that structure? The people of the organization are part of that structure. And that is what, if you see, is the culture of an organization, which drives the structure forward. And globally, with research, we have data which suggests that within an organization, if we can talk about innovation, we can talk about customer centricity, we can talk about amazing technology, we can talk about business model innovation, we can talk about digital disruption, entrepreneurship. But the biggest factor is actually the culture within an organization, and culture is formed by the people, by the structures existing within the organization. And that's why this becomes even more interesting, that the entire concept of ISO 56001 becomes even more interesting. Just a quick check. Is everybody comfortable with the view of the presentation? You can hear me, you can see me. Just a quick check, because my Zoom is behaving a little weird today, but yeah, just a little check. Everybody's on with me. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Uh-huh. Okay. Moving back to the innovation. We, of course, as organization leaders and strategists, we are thinking about how we can align our organizations with something which is more of a global standard. We have global standards for everything. We have global standards for quality. We have global standards for the environmental management. We have global standards for uh, health and safety of the employees, safer workplaces, but we do not have any global standard for innovation. And that is what we are going to learn today, that how we can align our business strategies, our organizational strategies with uh, with the organizational objectives, reach the organizational objectives, and drive innovation, aligning with the global standards, so that we know that whatever we are doing, whatever resources, whatever efforts we are putting into our innovation funnel, we are getting an ROI from that. And that's the biggest challenge. Personally, whenever I go and talk to the innovation champions within the organizations, uh, the senior management, the executive management, that's the biggest fear, that yes, we want to drive innovation. We want to have innovation within our organizations, but we are not sure whether all the efforts, all the resources we are putting into the innovation funnel, what is the ROI we are getting from that? It all sounds very beautiful. It all sounds very rosy, but am I going to get what I want within the organizations? And that's the biggest fear moving ahead. So what is this innovation management system? If you see what we call as the IMS, Innovation Management System, this entire framework has three major factors. The first factor is, of course, the managerial understanding. That means that it would enhance the manager's comprehension of the innovation process. Now, what does this mean? We all know that there are several innovation processes which we want to run within an organization at different levels. But how do we ensure that there is a maintenance? When we talk about maintenance, when we talk about management, it basically talks about a consistent flow of a certain process. And that consistency drives results. Because if there is no consistency within your innovation processes, within the organization, we might not be able to drive the required amount of results or the required quality of results we want to achieve. So that is where the managerial part comes. The second is that we already have within the organizations a lot of existing management systems or other ISOs, correct? We might have quality ISOs, we might have environmental ISOs, or very different kind of ISOs. Do we have a compatibility with these existing ISOs? Because anything new, if we introduce within the organization, it should not disrupt the already existing system, the already existing processes which are set up in the organization. That's also one of the fears. Of course, if we see the previous slides, there was a topic about resistance to change, which was one of the challenges in innovation. And resistance to change comes when we want to disrupt everything existing within the organization, and no management would ever want that. So making sure that the current or the new introduced management system is very beautifully compatible with the existing management systems or the existing systems within the organization. And of course, the IMS can provide a very structured, systemic approach of tackling whatever innovation opportunities we are working on and obstacles we're trying to cover. Yeah. So the second poll for everyone in this webinar today is that how familiar are you with the ISO standards in general? Like in general, we're not talking about uh, ISO 56001 specifically, but in general, how familiar are you within the organizations, that what are ISOs, how are they implemented, how are they assessed, how are they audited generally? Okay. So I can see somewhat familiar, around 67%, heard of them, but no experience, not familiar at all. Few more seconds to go. I like the way we all are responding. Pretty nice. It's almost afternoon time, and getting a response in the afternoon like this is pretty interesting. And it just makes it very clear that you all are very excited about this ISO. Great. Somewhat familiar. Okay. So most of us are narrowing it down to somewhat familiar. We know, we've heard. Many of us have heard, but no experience. And some of us actually have no familiarity at all. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. I think everybody has responded to the poll. We have around 20 responses. Great. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. So moving ahead and understanding what this ISO is, what this ISO global standard is, and how do we implement this within our organization. This is what the magic is. Of course, we have ISO 56000 series. Now, when we talk about the management, innovation management series, it has these multiple ISO standards, multiple standards. So when I say standard, it basically means that just for some people, if you have not heard of any ISO within an organization, it's very simple that if you are running a car manufacturing company and you have set up some protocols for how the manufacturing line, you defined a certain set of rules, certain set of processes which are there within your car manufacturing line to ensure safety of workers, for example. And this is important because the worker safety is paramount for your organization, and you have determined certain set of rules that these are the steps we'll follow, and this is how we'll follow. If you're not following these steps, we are deviating from the global standards for the quality or the health safety of our workers within the manufacturing line. And that becomes the ISO. So you get a certification, and the certification helps you to represent yourself at a global stage, global platform, saying that, hey, our organization is following all the rules and standards which were given to us by the global standard ISO, and we are not deviating from this. So that helps you to put yourself, of course, at a competitive space in the global market, and also that improves the functioning and the quality within your organization of how certain things should be done. So that basically means an ISO standard. And when you say the innovation management series, it is a combination of a lot of ISOs. Each ISO has a separate goal and a separate understanding. Now, all these ISOs which you see are different from 56001, which is also a part of this series, but I've not mentioned it here. Let's first understand what are these different ISOs. If you see in the figure, we start with the top right corner is 56008, which is a set of rules and a set of processes which can help us to measure and manage our innovation processes and activities within an organization. So measuring is also a very, very important part of the entire innovation process. If you see 56004, it is majorly involved in understanding the gaps, current gaps within our organization, which are more of obstacles to innovation. And similarly, 56007 is to managing your ideas, from ideas moving to concepts, and of course, refining concepts and validating the existing opportunities. 56005 is about the intellectual property management within innovation. 56003 is about collaboration, partnerships. How do you collaborate within the innovation space? 56000 is a common set of rules and language, basically a common set of code, which defines the foundations of innovation within the organization. So these are more like, you go to a lawyer, and you must have seen, when you go to a lawyer, you see so many books of law, and there's different clauses and different law types, and every type has a certain clause, and every clause states something within that book. These are different components of this entire series, and each component is talking about certain aspect of innovation within this series. If you talk about 56002, it's about leadership, process improvement, and it's majorly focused on how, from a leadership point of view, you can execute innovation within your organization. Now, if you see all these different set of ISOs within the 56000 series, none of them is certifiable. These are just non-certifiable. These are like guidelines. These are like advices. These are like suggestions which are given as global standards as part of different innovation methods. But the only certifiable IMS ISO is the 56001. That is the certifiable ISO innovation management system launched this year, and that gives your organization a certification that yes, you are ISO certified for innovation management. And if you look at this figure, this is the overall bird's eye view of what exactly the IMS looks like. And if you see this entire diagram, if you see the left side of the diagram talks about the opportunities and the intent. An organization wants to do something in innovation. The organization has a plan in mind, or I wouldn't say a plan, rather, I would say an intent, a wish that, oh, this is where we want to go, and this is the reason why we want to go in that direction. But there is no structure to drive that intent into the innovation value, into delivering value on the ground. And if you see the structure in the middle is actually giving or converting the intent to the value. And that is with the help of ISO 56001. Now, if you see in the middle, there are multiple levels. If you see, there is a leadership level in the circle. The leadership talks about how the leadership of an organization wants to align themselves and how they want to strategize and build a high-level plan about innovation in their organization. You cannot drive innovation without the leadership buy-in in an organization. And that is a big challenge today. If you see, there are so many innovation workshops happening today across organizations. But if the leadership does not have a buy-in, all these organizations, all these trainings, all these workshops, they are not effective. They're not productive because there is no leadership buy-in in such cases. So this also includes the leadership buy-in, the commitment to innovation, to driving innovation culture within an organization, their vision, their setting of goals, the bigger goals for the organization, and how they're going to do this, the strategy. What is the innovation strategy they want to implement within their organization? Once we have this high-level plan, followed by that is the execution part of innovation, where we actually, within that framework, which is defined by the leadership, how the entire organization actually executes innovation with the help of different innovation tools like design thinking, agile methods. How do they validate concepts? How do they identify opportunities, user centricity? So all that part is the execution part of innovation. And if you see the lower circle, that is the PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, act cycle helps us. We all have heard about this cycle. This helps us to continuously improve within the innovation framework, because an innovation framework needs continuous adaptability, improvement, iteration, and it has to be flexible. Uh, and how do we do that? We do that with certain measurable targets. If we don't have measurable KPIs for innovation, we don't know whether we are actually meeting the results, meeting the outcomes which were expected or not. So that is why having measurable objectives, KPIs for innovation is very, very important. And that is what is happening in this PDCA cycle. So this is an overall concept of ISO, which actually helps us to convert the intent of an organization to delivering value. And this can keep going on. So how did you feel, understand? We're still more to talk about the ISO, but where are you guys? Like, I'm just the one who's talking here. Where are you all right now? Are you all finding some sense in this? Are you all, uh, getting some clarity, having some, uh, something, some moments of aha, like, wow, this is interesting. This was new for me. Come on, let's have a share in the chat box. Mm-hmm. So do I get a response? No. Something new and interesting. I would love to hear from a couple of you, definitely, on the chat box. How is it going? Because I've just introduced the ISO to you from a broader perspective. How are you finding this as of now? Where are you right now? Really interesting. Okay, thank you. Maybe a few more responses would work. Relevant with a program. Okay, great. I'm happy you're finding it relevant. All right. So I'm assuming that all of you are in alignment with what we are sharing and you're finding it relevant. Great. Thank you so much for sharing on the chat box. Getting back to the presentation, it's basically boosting the innovation performance within an organization. And how do you do that? We all talk about innovation performance, but it's a standard. It's a standard, global standard, which everybody follows to boost your innovation performance within the organization. It's the world's first international requirement standard for IMS. It has been developed by the ISO, the International Organization for Standardization. And of course, this organization has also given many more ISOs, which I also shared, and I'll be sharing in the next slide, in the coming slide also. It is designed to create the best possible conditions and removes barriers to innovation activities. We've talked about this. And yes, this was a slide I was talking about, that why this is so interesting, why 56001 is very, very interesting, because it is suitable for all sizes of organization. It helps to improve innovation capabilities within an organization system and definitely create more value for all stakeholders. It's more of a common set of language framework for innovation, enabling different organizations to collaborate and innovate. The HLS, that's the high level structure. If you see here, what I was talking about helps a very, very seamless integration with other existing ISOs, like the ISO 9001 is the quality management ISO, which ensures that you have better quality of your products or better quality of the services your organization is offering. And integrating this ISO, the innovation ISO, with the quality management ISO will ensure that you're able to drive innovation and give better quality to your users. Also, the ISO 14001 is for the environmental management. So that will help. If this integration happens, it can help in building more sustainable innovation solutions or innovative solutions within your organization. Similarly, ISO 45001 is about the health and safety management, ensuring employee well-being, safer workplaces. So when you integrate this ISO with the ISO 45001, you are ensuring innovation at the safety level, like the example which we had earlier in the car manufacturing line about the workers working in the plant. So this is a seamless integration because of the high level structure. Yeah. So what are the major key components of the ISO? As we discussed this earlier, leadership commitment. It's very, very important to drive the top leadership in the innovation campaign. Strategy innovation. Strategy innovation is once you have the buy-in with the leadership, you have to align your innovation with business strategy. You need to set up certain goals, and those innovation goals and innovation frameworks which you define for your organization have to be in alignment with what your business strategy, with what your business goals are. Resource management, allocating the right resources for the right kind of innovation projects. And how do we measure performance evaluation? Are we measuring our innovation? As I mentioned earlier, the KPIs. Certain KPIs could be the number of ideas executed within your organization, the number of ideas implemented, or the time it takes from idea to concept within your organization. There could be many other KPIs which can actually evaluate the innovation performance within your organization. And continuous improvement, the PDCA cycle. Are we continuously evolving the innovation methods, the innovation processes and strategy within our organization? These are the 5 major components of the ISO which we are talking about: leadership, strategy, resource, performance, and of course, continuous improvement within your innovation framework. Now, considering these 5 basic aspects of innovation, I have a question for you. I'll be sharing a link to you, and we go to this mutual collaboration, virtual collaboration link. And our objective is to share real life innovation experiences here to understand that how this entire ISO could be applied within how we view challenges of innovation within our organization, or how we have achieved certain amazing results with the within the innovation in our organization. So we go to the Miro board and we answer these 2 questions, this question and these 2 parts of the question. Basically, the first is the challenge in innovation, that it could be either any specific challenges you have identified with respect to innovation within your organization, or it could be something which is a positive outcome of innovation within your organization. For both of the cases, you can reflect that out of the 5 components we shared in the previous slide, which component could be applied to address that particular challenge, or obviously enhance the positive outcome of innovation within your organization. Yeah. So, Lester, could we have the link on the chat box, or you want me to share?
Hi, sir. I shared the link in chat box.
Okay. So let me go to the link and share the screen. We encourage all of us to participate in this. All right, so we have some interesting responses. You can either write a challenge or a positive outcome of innovation within your organization. It could be anything, but out of the four, out of the 5 components of ISO, on the right side of the framework, you can see the 5 components: leadership, strategy, resource, performance, and continuous improvement. Out of these 5 key components, which component, one or more than one components, you think can be used from the ISO to either mitigate the challenges or enhance the success of your innovation within the organization? All right. We have responses. So we have challenge on keeping up the trends, the market trends. Okay. Digitalization, innovation perceived as additional overload. Yes. Difficulty in finding affordable tools for innovation. On the right side, I see people sharing leadership and support, resource management, strategic integration, continuous improvement, tools to help. Great. Nice. A lot of people, a lot of us are in the call here. Few more, maybe a minute more for us to do this exercise. You can even think of a positive outcome from innovation and see how you can enhance that within your organization with the help of these 5 resources. Okay. So I guess we get back on the presentation now. Thank you so much for your participation on this. Great activity, great participation. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. And I hope this activity was an interesting churning up about how the ISO key components could be used within your organization framework and help the organization grow better. Great. So what are the building blocks of the ISO? Oh, this looks complex, but no, it's not. It's very simple. If you see, it has basic 3 levels, and this is very simple. The first level on the left-hand side is a strategic level. What is strategic level? It's the overall high level of the organization, where you are actually defining the intent of your innovation. That's very, very important. If you see, sometimes this strategic level is missing and we're just working on innovation. We're just working on creating ideas, but there is no framework. There is no frame or a boundary in which we need to work. So the why of innovation, why do we need this? Why does the organization, and of course, the overall what wants to achieve? So this defines the innovation intent. And based on that intent, we are able to define a policy, a guideline, a framework having what to do, how the innovation will proceed within the organization. And based on that guidelines or the policy, we define an innovation strategy. So this is a high-level strategy, a high-level plan for the organization in innovation. Once this is done, we go to the next level, that's the tactical level. Now, in some organizations, we might have a great strategic level, great strategic thinkers, innovation strategy, policy, everything in place, but we are not having a tactical level where we are not able to define measurable objectives, measurable goals, which can define innovation within the organization. So creating innovation objectives that, okay, these are different innovation objectives which we want to achieve as part of our strategy. And all these objectives are measurable. And if you see, you can have hundreds of objectives, but again, you need to prioritize. So to do that and to make the execution of these objectives very easy, we are grouping or clustering these different objectives into innovation portfolios. Each portfolio is having multiple innovation objectives, which are having a similar specific goal. For example, say an electric vehicle car company has a broader strategic innovation policy or a broader intent that by 2030 or 2040, we want to be the market leader in EV vehicles. That's the broader plan. But how do you break that down into innovation objectives? So they can have multiple innovation objectives to achieve this strategy. One could be, we need to release 3 different models of EV vehicles this year. One could be, we need to have a lot of charging in infrastructure, a lot of charging stations across the country. Another could be, we need to innovate on the battery technology or the other technology within the vehicles. These are different objectives. We can cluster these different objectives into portfolios. So one portfolio could be, okay, developing the new models of EV vehicles, and which has further multiple, separate innovation objectives. One portfolio could be charging infrastructure. One portfolio could be battery technology innovation. So these are different portfolios, and each portfolio has multiple objectives which are measurable and that are aligning with the overall strategy at the strategic level, the previous level. Once we have done that, the third level where the real action is taking place is our operational level, where for each portfolio, you're actually defining initiatives. You're actually executing those objectives with those specific projects. And all these innovation processes, initiatives which you're running, are adaptable. Why are they adaptable? Why are they flexible? So that continuous improvement can happen, iterations can happen. So you see, in some organizations, you might have a great strategy, you might have a great tactical level, but the execution is missing. On the ground, the implementation is missing. And what we are doing in the ISO is we are having all these 3 levels, strategic, tactical, and operational, running together. And that's what is the beauty of this ISO. Yeah. So the benefits to the organizational level, of course, if we sum up the benefits we've talked about in the past few minutes, maximized value to the organization, optimized resources. Why? Because we know we are able to prioritize our objectives. We're not wasting our resources within the organization. And also we are enhancing the collaboration within the organization. If we have standard processes which are there as part of the ISO, we know that collaboration has to happen. Maybe one of the innovation processes as part of the ISO in your organization is regular brainstorming sessions within cross-functional teams. It could be one of the processes set up. So you know that this has to happen as part of the ISO, and that will make sure that cross-functional brainstorming is happening, that collaboration is happening. And of course, sustainable growth for the organization. So at the organizational level, if you see, you get a common framework for innovation, a common language which everybody knows within the organization. And it is integrating with the already existing systems, which we have talked on before, and reducing the complexity. It is simplifying the process. Operational level is different. Tactical level is different. Strategic level is different. It's very simple, simplifying the entire hoo-ha of innovation and making it more value-centric rather than making it hoo-ha centric. That's what I always say to, we have hoo-ha about innovation, but where are the results? So how do we deliver innovation value in this ISO framework? Yeah. And if you see that the four major objectives are competitive advantage, cost efficiency, strategic focus, and streamlined operations. Again, we are restructuring the benefits in the four most important part of market disruption today. Because if you want to win the market, if you want to be a market leader, you have to have a competitive advantage. You need to take care of your costs, because innovation can result to increased costs. So how do you optimize the costs? And streamlining operations, how do you make sure that it looks very fancy, but we are able to simplify the process and implement it? And of course, a strategic focus involving the leadership, having the top leadership buy-in. That's a very, very important part of an innovation culture in an organization. How do we build this framework? We build this framework with a basic flow chart where it's more like a sequence where you understand the gap analysis. We do the gap analysis. We understand where do we currently lie, because we need to know how do we comply the ISO IMS within our organization. So what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Are we having the leadership buy-in? Training our the employees of our organization into the basic principles, educating them what is ISO, how does it operate, developing a framework, creating the policies, creating the processes, the strategic level, the operational level, the tactical level, and of course, continuously monitoring, having measurable KPIs, continuously refining the innovation flowchart. And that's how we actually are able to frame this ISO framework within our organization. Having a competitive advantage, strategic value, market relevance. Again and again, why am I sharing this in different ways? Because it's very important for us to know that today's time, competitive advantage is only it's only a word, fancy. It's not only a fancy word, but a necessity. And how do we do this? Not just by one component of innovation. You might have user centricity, but again, as we discussed, if you're lacking a structure, we are not able to build an innovation culture within an organization. So let me introduce this new program, which has been launched for innovation management practitioner program for practicing innovation management systems, and of course, for developing this ISO framework within your organization. It's a 2-day virtual live instructor-led training workshop where the basic takeaways would be to understand the importance of structured innovation. Today, we are working on digital disruption, market disruption, sustainability. How do we grow our organizations in a sustainable fashion? So understanding how we can address these challenges with a structured way of innovation, learning the basic principles of ISO 56001 and aligning with and integrating them with the other ISO standards which are existing within your organization, developing innovation policies, applying the processes of innovation like design thinking, agile methods, which are very interesting innovation tools to execute innovation within the organization, measuring and improving innovation processes using the KPIs and metrics, and integrating innovation strategies into your business operations for sustainability, for a sustainable growth of your organization. It is ideal for leaders in the organization, executives, R&D, product teams, sustainability teams, digital transformation leaders, professionals across all departments who want to be a part of strategic thinking rather than only talking about strategy. Yeah, so they all want to contribute and be a part of that bigger innovation framework. Yeah, this 2-day program will be launched, of course, next year, 15th and 16th of April. 2-day program. Day 1 has 4 modules. Day 2 has 4 modules, and both the modules are covering what I just shared today. It was just a trailer. It was just an understanding about what is ISO, why is it important. But these 2 days will actually enable the participants to be an innovation management practitioner. having understanding how innovation fits in the organizational context, introduction of IMS, the components of IMS, the ISO, the basic principles of ISO. How do you establish this entire framework, implement that framework, refine that framework? And that's of course, and day two is more about refining, setting up more innovation processes, the KPIs, measuring, continuous development, continuous improvement of your innovation framework. So if you are interested in being a part of this program, you can obviously contact the Apex Global team for the same, to have this, to have an exposure to this IMS practitioner program and to enroll for the same. Thank you so much, everybody, for being a great listener today in this entire session. Any questions regarding this entire IMS, the hoo-ha of the ISO, and how do we practically get this as part of our organization? So any questions regarding that, anything you want to share, would love to hear from all of you. We have the links about the program also on the chat box. You can go and check out the program details by the Apex Global. So yeah, I'm sure you're able to unmute yourself, right? If you want to share something or ask something, or you can even ask in the chat box. That's okay. Any questions anybody has? Thank you, Anna. If you don't have questions, you can just share what you learned today. You can just share what was your learning, how was the session, what was the realization, what did you realize from being a part of this session today? Great. So you can type in the chat box if you want. Thank you, Amy. Helpful. Yes, Emil, thank you. Definitely. It's very important for the post-pandemic effect. Getting a structure definitely helps. Great, Shanira. Yes, Lester, I think everyone is pretty satisfied with the information, and there are no more questions.
Oh, actually, sir, I think we have one more follow-up question.
Yeah. Just read it. How can we effectively introduce new management concepts that may be perceived as deviating from our established brand identity? That's a great question, Anna. Thank you. Definitely, that's why if you see, if you just recall in the initial part of the ISO introduction, I mentioned that one thing is resistance to change, and that just doesn't happen down the line in the organization. Resistance to change also can be a fear in the top management in the strategic part of the organization, because when we are talking about brand identity, we are looking from a strategic level, not at an operational or an executional level. And definitely, the biggest fear is that the perception, because whenever we introduce something new as part of the organization, there's a fear that this may change the way we are functioning or the way the market perceives us. And that's why this entire management system is not, the standard is not about how the company should think. The standard is about how innovation should happen within your organization. It's a very customized innovation. Whatever, that's why in the initial part, we have the innovation intent. The innovation intent, the innovation policy is based on what your organizational goals are, how your organization wants to be perceived in the market, and that defines the framework for innovation. So it is not deviating from your, your existing standards or your existing intent to be in the market. And that's why it's a very customized innovation structure where we are giving you a framework. The framework helps you to take your own identity, your own brand goals, your own perception, and make it more effective, more impactful within the market. To maintain your brand, you need to execute. And to make your execution more powerful, the IMS is there. I hope I've answered your question. The standard consider the implementation of AI. Yes, see, the standard doesn't tell you to implement AI or not implement AI. AI integration is a part of, it could be a part of your digital disruption today or digitalization process. It is a seamless integration. So it will anyhow support whatever tools or processes your organization is implementing. This IMS is going to support that and enhance that. So it's not saying a yes or no to an existing tool. And today in the digitalization process, AI integration is very important. Customized innovation structure is an interesting word. Thank you, Anna.
So thank you, Mr. Namit, for that very informative session. So once again, just a last call from the participants if you have any questions. Okay, I think none. So once again, thank you, Mr. Namit, and thank you everyone for joining us in our session. And to the participants, kindly answer the feedback form after leaving this session. So thank you everyone and have a great day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great day ahead.
Thank you.